Before we get started on finishing up our project, I wanted to talk about color choices first. Color is very important in representing the mood of a picture. For instance, when I see artwork that has mostly cool colors, like different shades of blues, I think of a calmness to the piece. But also at the same time, if an artist uses the same color choices, it might lead to other feelings such as sadness. Color is a great way of telling the artwork story. Now, if I see a picture with multiple colors, my first reaction is that that's a happy picture. So when you start coloring your final, color choice is very important. I now want to share this behind-the-scenes clip from the Pixar movie Inside Out. Here, a few animators talk about how they use color, line, and shape in their character designs. Let's watch now.
Sadness was kind of a round, soggy character.
I don't know, there's something kind of right about that posture, you know, that feels kind of withdrawn. And
There's a lot of exploration for sadness and what that could be. Some of the earlier designs are maybe a little bit too melancholy. I call it kind of like method character designing in some ways. You kind of have to feel sadness, so I would put on the headphones and try sad music. I would just try to get into that state. Even though our characters are specific emotions, we realized they're going to need to act out a full range of emotions and not just stick to their one particular emotion. Therefore, sadness would have to act happy as well. And what would that look like? What would a sad glad look like? So we realized it was going to be a lot of blending.
Disgust took a long time to figure out, you know. We did more designs of that character than I think any other.
A lot of that came from issues of, did we want her to be disgusting or disgusted? Which seems like a simple question, but it is not.
We did some early explorations where we tried drawing like disgusting looking characters, and that wasn't going to work for appeal's sake or a character that you're going to be drawn to. But
I feel like every movie has that one character that like nothing is sticking. It's kind of like a big back and forth.
Chris also did some really great exploration, just finding footage of people being disgusted.
I would think her thing would be like, yeah, get it away. I don't want to.
People just have this common thing where it's like, I noticed that where it's just like this head back and like their hand is like almost like they want to throw up but they can't. And so that's kind of like what I put that scarf there for, was like maybe they can play with it where it's like she doesn't have a collar but maybe she has that scarf where she kind of like constantly is trying to like barf in it or something.
Yeah.
She's so disgusted with it.
Alright, so the first part of this video, I talked about how certain colors can represent different emotions and feelings. I've decided for my final, I am going to use colored pencils. Now remember, you can use any art supplies that you may have. So if you don't have colored pencils, you could use crayons, markers, what else? Oil pastels, maybe even paint. But if you do paint, this paper in our sketchbook is a little bit thin. So if you use something like watercolor paints, it might make the paper crinkle, I guess. I don't know, bubble up. But I won't have to worry about that because I'm using colored pencils. Now, since Baby Yoda is sad, the first colors I think of when it comes to that sad emotion are blues and greens. Not to say, there's no rule that says you can't use blues and greens for like a happy picture, but I really think especially blue represents that emotion. Okay, I already have quite a few of these sharp. I definitely have to use green for Baby Yoda's skin, but I'm going to blend in a little bit of blue with it as well, okay? I'm gonna do a time-lapse video. If it's going too fast for you as you're working on your final, you all know that you can pause the video and then continue on your own work. All right, have fun. pretty much done with my crying Baby Yoda. The reason why I stopped the time lapse is just that I wanted to point out a couple of things to you. If you noticed on the time lapse, yes, I used colored pencils, but no, did you all notice that even when I finished coloring with one color, a certain shape, I went in and worked in another color. For the most part, even though I used other colors other than green and blue, I started working in and blending, as you see here. Okay, even in the sky, I use this dark blue. Yeah, it's kind of, it looks green, but it's almost like a midnight blue. And I didn't just stop at that. I used this lighter blue. Colored pencils really work well in terms of color blending. One of the better brands of colored pencils out there, if you ever are shopping for certain brands, Prismacolor are the best colored pencils. Another medium that you could use for color blending, crayons are good. Oil pastels, I know some of you have used oil pastels in art class before. They're very good for blending, but they're almost bold. When I say bold, they really stand out, so you really have to dig in. Colored pencils, notice when I color, I'm not pressing so hard. And another trick, notice that I'm careful along the edges, but I press a little bit harder on the edges to give it a little bit of shadow. Okay, I could do this forever, but I think I'm pretty happy with the end result. What do you guys think? You like it? Cool. Here. I think even my dog, Bronco, likes it. Bronco, do you like Baby Yoda? Yeah? Good. All right. There you have it. My emotional, sad Baby Yoda. Oh, I almost forgot. Let me put this back on the stand. What is the one thing that I always tell artists to do when they finish their work? I know some of you are yelling out to your iPad screen. Yes, your name. So, this stand. Probably gonna edit this out. All right, now that I got my stand fixed, I can do the final step, and that is writing my name. I'm gonna go with, I'm just gonna go with a Sharpie. So in the corner, I put my signature, and I always like putting, some artists like placing the date, I just like placing the year. So there you go, my final piece. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for following along on these steps. Remember, share your work on Seesaw, okay? All right, take care everyone, bye.